In this week's episode of Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel, episode 20, Doom Signal, we begin where last week's episode left off, and Mick, now brainwashed Mick, is working for Madame Odious and Badana, I believe is her name, to create a giant satellite so Madame Odious can broadcast her brainwashing signal all over planet Earth. Of course, Mick, being brainwashed, has no choice but to help, and so that's exactly what he's doing. We open with Madame Odious speaking with Mick to see if the device, the satellites, are aligned, powered, and ready, which they are. Mick proceeds to ask the question, even though he's brainwashed. It kind of got me a little bit that he even bothered to ask a question at all. If you're brainwashed, you should just be following orders, not asking questions. So that's a little weird. Makes me wonder if Mick might be playing, might be acting. Who knows? But regardless, he asks the question, why would humans want to watch a monster TV show? Madame Odious proceeds to say, well, they're not going to be watching monsters, they're going to be watching humans. But we need to kidnap some first. I'll give you one guess who they kidnap. Time's up. The ass clowns themselves, Victor and Monty. We'll get into that here in a moment. Well, in order to capture humans, they put together a small contest, or an audition rather. And the winners of the audition get to be on an anonymous TV show where they can become rich and famous. Obviously, it's just Galaxy Warriors. It's just Madame Odious's plot. So a lot of people at the school, obviously, we're going to hold this audition at the school with kids and not, somewhere where they can actually have anybody and everybody audition. No, it's just high school students, apparently. Should have seen that coming, because apparently the only sets they can afford is a couple of abandoned industrial parks, a nice little family meadow, grassy tree-filled park, and the school. And of course we have stock footage. But in any case, at this audition, we see many of the students are auditioning to get on this TV show, including Victor and Monty, and the White Ranger, Haley. Well, Haley is nervous for her audition, seemingly so, because I suppose Calvin, her boyfriend, the Yellow Ranger, was supposed to be there an hour ago to help her rehearse and to help drop off her props for her audition. Well, he then shows up just in the nick of time with oil and grease on his face, saying, I had car trouble. I had to fix my car before I could get here. And she asked, okay, did you bring my props? And he said, yeah, I remember them. I put them on the porch and then forgot them. So you didn't remember them. You just plain forgot them. You just should have said that right out to begin with. So not only was he an hour late to help Haley audition, to rehearse, and to bring her stage props, he is obviously upset that he basically failed his girlfriend in doing a simple task that she asked him to do. And Haley, of course, is seemingly upset because he failed to do so with said task. Well, Haley auditions, and apparently her audition skit was Romeo and Juliet. The scene where, more specifically, the scene where Juliet drinks the poison to join Romeo in death. Well, it was bad, as you can imagine. It was really bad. When her audition was over, she asked Calvin, her boyfriend, what he thought of the audition, and to be honest, well, he was honest. He said, wasn't that great. He says Romeo and Juliet probably was not the best scene for her to act for this audition. Then he goes and says the most idiotic thing. He says it probably would have been better with your props. You're the one that was supposed to bring the props, and that's exactly what Haley says. And then she seems rather upset at his honest opinion. When you ask someone for their honest opinion, you're supposed to take it with a grain of salt, and you're supposed to take it as an opinion. If it's honest, then there's no harm in it. She gets mad. So therefore, she puts Calvin in the doghouse, so to speak. Well, next up for the audition is Victor and Monty. What's their shtick? What are they going with? Apparently they're going with some kind of strange doctor-patient routine. It's supposed to be a dramatic reading. There was nothing dramatic about it. As you could imagine, it was a clown show. Oddly enough, the man in charge of the auditions absolutely loved it. You two would be perfect for us. We found our guys. Everybody else can go home. Sorry. Victor and Monty. Anyway, their celebration is short-lived. Yes, they got picked to be on the so-called TV show to become rich and famous. However, leaving the school, Victor and Monty are pestering the audition manager. And then all of a sudden, he proceeds to turn into the monster known as Gorox, which is a bull-themed monster. It's a bull. It's got horns like a bull. And a couple of the security guards that were with him were Basher bots. They change into their monster forms, scare the crap out of Victor and Monty, and they teleport them to the Galaxy Warrior ship, but not before the Rangers themselves see this happen. So they know that Victor and Monty have been kidnapped, and they want to rescue them, obviously. Well, during this, Calvin and Haley are still arguing with one another, and Calvin made a good point and said he did give his honest opinion. It's harmless. It's an honest opinion. She obviously just took it the wrong way. Well, she gets mad at him, overly upset with him, and tells him that we should probably go our separate ways and take some time apart. Calvin takes this as basically, I'm being dumped, so he gets mad and he walks away. Haley then realizes later, thanks to Sarah, the Pink Ranger, thank goodness for Christy Ann, her and Yoshi Sudarso, Peter Sudarso, the Blue Ranger, those two are probably the best actors on the show, so I would listen to them. Plus Christy Ann, the Pink Ranger, she, yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, she convinces Haley that, yeah, she was a little bit too harsh on Calvin. And so she tries to call Calvin to obviously apologize. Well, she couldn't get a hold of him because he has caught the sight of the television program that is being broadcast from the Galaxy Warriors ship. And this is funny. The monsters dressed Victor and Monty up as what else? Clowns. Dressed them up as clowns. This whole time I've been calling them ass clowns. Or just clowns in general. But thank you. You finally vindicated my reason for calling them clowns, because now they are indeed clowns. Pushes them on stage and tells them to whack each other repeatedly with inflatable, squeaky hammers. Obviously, the crowd doesn't like this because they're not only humans, but they're lame clowns. So to make it more interesting, Cosmo decides to start dropping big-ass ball and chain. They look like submarine mines. They look like old naval mines. But anyway, let's just say Chain Chomps from Super Mario starts dropping these things on stage, and Victor and Monty have to dodge them and run and do all this other stuff, which of course now the crowd likes it because there's danger and violence involved. Well, obviously this is the television program that they are broadcasting across the planet, apparently, that supposedly billions of people are watching and becoming brainwashed just like Mick as part of Madame Odious' plan. Well, as I said, Calvin catches sight of the TV broadcast, says, "What is this? Victor and Monty?" And then, of course, he gets brainwashed. Yeah. The Rangers attempt to basically, get onto the Galaxy Warrior ship and free Victor and Monty. Well, they are stopped, obviously, by the monster Gorox and Brax. Once again, bringing Brax back. Well, before we even see anything of a real fight, the Rangers struggle with Gorox for a small moment on foot, seemingly defeating him after the Red Ranger uses his Lion Fire power-up. Well, of course, he didn't finish him. He just stands right back up. Brax appears, and then Cosmo decides to gigantify both of them. The Rangers call their Zords, and of course, they defeat Gorox. Brax, they also seemingly defeat, hopefully for the last time. And Badana, the monster, she's, oh, my Brax, I'll never get to see you again, I'll never get over you, blah, blah, blah. 2 seconds later, she gets over it because she's having to deal with Victor and Monty's clown bull crap. So, yeah, she thinks she got over it pretty quick. Anyway, they defeat the monsters, teleport out of their Megazords, and back to the school they go when they find the school doors are locked. The doors are locked, which they obviously don't think is normal because it's the middle of the day and the doors should be open. Well, the principal answers the door, brainwashed principal, and says, school is closed, go home, watch TV. Closes the door creepily and locks it again. Well, they peek through the crack of the door and see that the principal, as well as many other people in the school, are being held captive by Basherbots. Well, as they're leaving to try to find another way into the school, Madame Odious and Mick teleport to the school front door. The Rangers see this and say, that's Mick. What is he doing here? He didn't go to the Lion Galaxy after all. He's been with Madame Odious this whole time? Brainwashed? Wow. Yeah, it's exactly where he's been. And that brings us to a to be continued. Yes, the episode is to be continued. So this was episode 20. So that means we're at least going to see 1 to 2 more episodes culminating the end of Power Rangers Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel, which I can't wait for because I am so done reviewing this particular series. I can't wait to move on to review a more exciting, hopefully a more exciting and entertaining series in Power Rangers Beast Morphers when that comes out January 2019. So this was my review of Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel episode 20, Doom Signal. The next episode will obviously be the continuation of this episode. Whether or not it is the final episode or not remains to be seen, but we'll find out next week or whenever they decide to air this said episode. Because I remember the last time they said to be continued in Ninja Steel in the first season. They said to be continued, and we had to wait a whole 2 months to see that continuation. So, but I really don't think they're going to do that. We'll probably end up seeing the last episode within probably a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that, guys. Stay tuned for other great content I have coming on the channel. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. You guys all know the deal. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. This concludes our broadcast day.